Hello, my beautiful people. Thank you guys for being here with me once again. Thank you for sharing this sacred space of peace and love with me. I really hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. I hope you guys are loving on yourselves and just taking the time to be as present as possible in your lives, right? Now, I wanted to talk about something that has been on my heart to talk about for a while, right? And what I wanted to talk about was the feeling of something constantly feeling like it's missing from our lives, right? And I was thinking the other day, that something that most of us in this world, almost every single one of us struggle with, is the feeling of something constantly being missing from our lives, right? Even when our lives are going good, even when our lives are going great, there is always this underlying feeling of something being missing, right? And I experienced that, a great deal in my life. Even when I found myself in situations, positions, maybe even relationships that I once prayed to be in, there was always this feeling of something being missing. There was always this feeling of emptiness and unfulfillment that I used to struggle with and still kind of struggle with to this day, right? And I used to always wonder, what is the reason behind this feeling, right? And recently I came to a realization, or I should say I came to an epiphany. And I began to realize that the reason why most of us go through this world feeling like something is missing is because we've been conditioned to live in expectation. It's because we've been conditioned to live in reference to what is to come, right? And because we've been conditioned to live in expectation and live in reference to what is to come, nothing that is here will ever feel good enough. Nothing that is in our lives will ever feel like enough, because we're always looking to the next thing, right? Whether consciously or unconsciously, we're always thinking to ourselves, maybe if I was making more money, I would feel a whole lot happier. Maybe if I was in a relationship, I would feel a lot more fulfilled. Maybe if I was driving a better car, maybe if I owned a better house, then I would feel fulfilled within myself, right? And if you're living in reference to the next best thing, there is never going to be a time in your life in which you feel fulfilled. There is never going to be a time in your life in which that emptiness is no longer there, because you're not focused on what's here. You're living in reference to the next best thing. And there is always going to be a next best thing, right? There's always going to be something you don't have. There's always going to be a different relationship you could be in. There's always going to be something else that you don't own. And if you're constantly living in reference to what is to come, if you're constantly living in reference to that expectation of the future, you are never going to be fulfilled and whole within yourself, right? And that's why being in the present moment is so important, right? It's not about what's great that is to come. It is always about what is here that is already great. And I think in every moment of our lives, there is so much that we can be grateful for. In every moment in our lives, there is so much good, there's so much great that is already where we are. But if we are constantly looking to the future, or living in expectation, or living in reference to the next best thing, we are never going to get to a place in our lives in which we truly feel happy. We are never truly going to get to a place in our lives in which we truly feel fulfilled, in which we truly feel whole, in which we truly feel at peace with ourselves. Because we're always chasing the next thing. Right? See, the nature of desire is desire. And what I mean by that is, the nature of desire is that there's truly no end to desire. If you desire something and you do acquire that thing, you're only going to get a temporary satisfaction. And before you know it, another desire is birthed. Before you know it, there's something else that you are going to desire. And if you're constantly attaching your fulfillment, if you're constantly attaching your joy, if you're constantly attaching your peace to your desires and to the next thing, then freedom, peace, love, joy, happiness, bliss, all those things will constantly be out of your reach. But the moment you allow yourself to focus on what's here, the moment you take your attention away from what is to come and you place your attention to what is here, that is the moment in which you recognize that you're not missing anything at all. Right? That's the moment you recognize that all the happiness, all the joy, all the peace, that sense of fulfillment that you seek, it is always right here. It is always where you are. It is always in the present moment, because the present moment always has so much that we can be grateful for. The present moment always has so much that we can be grateful for. See, if you're watching this right now, right, I want you to do something very important. I want you to take a look at your life. Take a look at your life right now, right? And I want you to take inventory of all the good that is in your life. I want you to focus on all the things that you could be grateful for in this moment. Everything that you could be grateful for, take inventory of it. Write it down. Make a mental note. Make a list of all the good that is in your life right now, right? And not only that, I want you to take inventory of all the good things about you. Not the good things about what you own, but all the good things about you as well. Right? Whatever it is that you love about you, whatever good that is about you, take inventory of those things, right? And I want you for a month to only focus on those things. Only focus on the good. Only focus on what you have. Only focus on what is here that you can be grateful for a month. Only focus on those things. And once you spend a great deal of time focusing on the good that is here, focus on the things that you can be grateful for, you will recognize that you will begin to develop a greater sense of peace within yourself. You will begin to recognize that you will begin to develop a greater sense of fulfillment within yourself the moment you begin to focus on what's here that is good. Our feelings of insufficiency, our feelings of lack, our feelings of something constantly being missing from our lives and within ourselves always stem from our lack of gratitude. Always stem from us focusing on what we lack. Always stem from us focusing on the things that we want. But when you take back your attention from your perceived lack and you place it on the abundance that is right here, the good that is in your life, the great things about you, the things that you love about your life right now, the abundance that's in your life, when you take your attention back and focus it on those things, that is when you truly find fulfillment within yourself. Because you're not chasing the next thing to make you feel like you're enough. See, a big reason why a lot of us never get to a place in which we truly feel fulfilled within ourselves, in which we truly feel whole, is because we're constantly looking for something to validate us. We're always looking for something to affirm our worth, to affirm our existence in this world, right? Us chasing after a relationship, most of the time, it comes from the lack of love that we feel within ourselves, the lack of sufficiency that we feel within ourselves, right? We believe that if we were supposed to have that person, have that relationship, we will finally get to a place in which we feel loved. We believe that if we were to make a certain amount of money and accomplish this and accomplish that, we will finally get to a place in which we feel like we are worth something, right? A lot of the things that we desire in this world, a lot of our attachments to the things outside of ourselves come from the lack that we feel within, come from us trying to validate our self-worth, come from us thinking that we're not good enough. But once you get to a place in which you stop searching for things in order to validate you, you begin to recognize that you by yourself, you existing, you being here is enough. Right? Your existence is already enough proof of your worth. You do not need a relationship to make you feel loved. You do not need the next thing to validate your existence. You do not need to own this or that to finally make you feel like you're worth something. You are worth something simply by being here. You truly do. Right? See, I'm going to say something that a lot of you might disagree with, right? Or disagree with initially. But if you truly think about what I'm saying, you will begin to recognize just how true this is. Right? And what I'm about to say is this. We do not want anything. Right? Follow me for a second. We don't want anything. We think we want a person. We think we want this car, with this house, all these tangible things in the world. But we don't want anything. All we desire to do is to feel. We're constantly chasing after a feeling, right? The reason why we want a relationship is to feel loved. The reason why we want to make a certain amount of money or accomplish this thing or accomplish that thing is to feel some sense of fulfillment. The reason why we want to own certain things and have a certain things is because we want to feel some level of joy or fulfillment within ourselves, right? We're constantly chasing after a feeling. That's all we're doing in this life. We are always in search of a feeling. And if God was to come to you tomorrow, or come to you today, if God was to come to you today, and God said to you, I'm going to give you everything that you want in this world, but I'm not going to give you the feeling of having those things, how many of us would take that deal? How many of us would take having the person of our dreams without feeling the love that we desire to feel? How many of us will take accomplishing all the great things in the world, owning all the great things in the world, without feeling accomplished or satisfied? Right? How many of us would take owning all the great things in the world and going all the extravagant places without the joy or without the peace that we desire to feel? How many of us would take that deal? Right? I would venture to say that no sane person would take that deal. Because what's the point of having all this without the feeling that accompanies having it? And once you recognize that, you begin to realize that we're constantly chasing a feeling, not a tangible thing. We're constantly chasing after a feeling. That's it. But on the other hand, if God was to come to you today and God said to you, I'm going to give you all the feelings that you desire to feel, but I'm not going to give you the things, the physical things that accompany those feelings. Every sane person in this world would take that deal. Right? Any sane person. Because it is always the feeling that accompanies these things that we are constantly in chase of. Always the feeling. But once you get to a place in which you recognize that you don't need to have the thing to feel how you want to feel, and you can always give yourself permission to feel how you want to feel, you begin to recognize that joy, fulfillment, peace, happiness, love, all those things that we're constantly in search of, all those things that we're constantly chasing, we can have them right here. Right in this very moment, we can have them. Because not only can these things be accessed in the present moment, but these things are never foreign to us. We've just been conditioned to attach the feelings that we desire with things outside of ourselves. But all the love, all the peace, all the joy, all the happiness, all the bliss, all the freedom that we search for in this world, they are always accessible right here. And getting yourself to a place in which you begin to live in the present moment, get into a place in which you begin to live with a great sense of gratitude, a great sense of appreciation for what is right here, and not only for what is right here, but for who you are, you begin to find a greater sense of peace and fulfillment within yourself. So that emptiness, that void, that lack that we constantly feel within ourselves always comes from us living in expectation and living in reference to the next best thing. But the moment you allow yourself to be present with what's here, the moment you begin to allow yourself to be okay with what is here, the more we no longer hold that feeling of something being missing within ourselves. And the greatest sense of fulfillment we will truly begin to live with if we allow ourselves to be more present. Right? But enough is always right here, because you are right here. I'm gonna say that again. Enough is always right here, because you are right here. And no matter where you are, no matter what you have tangibly, physically, you are always enough. So if you can't bring yourself to develop appreciation for the good that is in your life, At least get to a place in which you will begin to develop appreciation for yourself and for who you are. And with that appreciation comes that sense of fulfillment and peace within yourself. Right? So yeah, probably rambled on for long enough. Once again, thank you guys for being here with me. Thank you guys for making it this far into the video. And once again, take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a bit of love every day. And begin to appreciate what's here. Begin to live in reference to what is here. And just be here. Because here is the only place you can truly be. Peace and blessings.